Right. So yesterday whilst I was marking, I realized that generally the performance was quite impressive. But I have a few comments that I want to give, which is so number one is it would be very great if all students are able to, section out their notebook with headers. So for example, if you're doing, let's say, a user overview analysis, let's have the heading over there. If you're tackling task 1.1, indicate it with a header, task 1.1. If you're doing task 1.2, indicate it, right? And I know that within each task, there are bullet points, right? Also, if you're answering a particular, bullet point, let's have that header over there as well. It helps, to have a seamless marking, okay? One of the challenges that I had was that it was difficult to find a particular, so when I'm marking, I look out for a certain, so for example, for the tax one, I was looking out for the PCA and then the correlation analysis, the correlation metrics, right? And then the bivariate and then the univariate, because the thing is, once you've done those things, the assumption is that you've done the prior ones as well. Okay, so sometimes it's hard when you can't find this thing because some in some of the notebooks there are no headers like that to indicate which particular one you are tackling, right? So let's have those as well so that it makes the marking very smooth. And then the second point that I have is a few people, about one or two people, I felt like their approaches were quite worrying in a sense that because I realized that last week there was a lot of engagement on Slack, a lot of people were asking questions and so on and so forth. So I was quite surprised that they tackled the questions the way they did, right? So I had to comment that they have to engage more. If they are not engaging, they have to ask questions because your tutors are there, your colleagues are also there. You can reach out to them to ask questions if you don't understand anything, okay? Because I feel like maybe this person did a lot of the things on his or her own and sort of deviated a bit, right? So let's take note of that. And some of you also left out some questions. What I would suggest is that try as much as possible to attempt everything, right? Even if you're not able to finish a particular question, at least start something on it, right? It helps, right? Don't leave it blank, okay? At least try as much as possible to attempt it in one way or the other. And then some of you were also printing. So if you have about 105,000 rows, some of you were printing all the rows. So I have to keep on scrolling before I get to the next task, right? So I would entreat you guys to not print, and then if you want to print something, maybe the first few rows is fine, but don't print the entire data set, right? It makes scrolling really, really hard. Okay. Right. So I think that'll be it, Arun, from my side.
Okay, super. I've taken some notes of that in all week too. So those are the comments there from Sebastian. Jean, do you want to make some comments on what's going on this week?
Yes, I think for the previous week, it's actually a good summary from Sebastian. And yeah, I think you will get also comment on the slide part, the way you present and the technical things also in the slides. And for this week, yeah, I know that you are busy because you have the code and you have the methodology and you have to understand both methodology and code. So I realized this week is more like based on Bayesian approach of problem solving. So that's why we are delivering some tutorial to help you understand. I know the Bayesian framework is like not easy to understand, but with the tutorial we have designed and share with you now, the resources we share with you right now, I think this have been, I hope this have been helpful. And also The first tutorial of this day will just be going through the code and understanding things and asking a question about the code, so that you understand the technical things about that. So I think it will be led by Yabebal. I will also be there, and so prepare your question. And so this is the time to ask any question about the coding part, the technical part, and so anything you want. So I think apart from those two things, if you know well, the methodology and so the conceptual things and plus the coding part, if you understand everything, I think yeah, so those one are the huge things for this week. You should then be able to go through the challenge without any major difficulty. So apart from the small questions, and we are open, just ask, and we will try to respond. Yeah, so I think that will be from my side.
All right. What else do we have this week? So yesterday was Founders Day. We missed Founders Day in Ghana, so sorry for that. But to all of our Ghanaian colleagues, I'm not sure how one says it, but happy Founders Day. For this week, the only point from my side is just to say to add, make sure you add all your country groups. Make sure you ask lots of questions. Yeah, that's all I have. Yevabel, over to you.
Okay, so I think it's everything almost covered, so we can just directly go to how people felt about the project so far and what they are thinking their sticking point and what they plan to do. So
can I ask people who attended also to make a comment on what they thought of Axel's presentation for whoever was there? So whoever, we'll go into the stand-up as Yevabel said, but so put your name in the box. Let's see who's first. But if you were at Axel's presentation, it would be great to a couple of words on how you found it.
Lawal, where are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're in the right place. Otherwise, I would have started to wonder.
Okay, right. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah. So well, unfortunately, I wasn't at the presentation yesterday. I basically took Prosper's advice, and I was already feeling like overwhelmed yesterday. So I took a break of this Slack channel, and well, 2 hours before the deadline, I had to come back to do the challenge because I've read the paper, I think the day before yesterday. So, and I did some brainstorming session with my teammates the day before yesterday too. So just the knowledge and going through the Slack channel, seeing the questions people asked about it, and some Google search, I was able to do a part of the interim before the deadline. So yeah, and I saw yesterday somebody asked a question about how we could actually get data, and Yabiba provided some codes, I think, like that you can access the data maybe for Ethiopia, then I can use it to access Nigeria. So, and also I think it was Abubakar that gave the actual Python file there that gave the name. So I think I'll just have to go through the repository again. So to decide whether I'll be using the one we used in our pre-assessment page or the repository the team created on GitHub. So, and I have a meeting with my colleagues today, my team, so we would further deliberate on it, and I believe we'll be able to make progress. So, and I would go as well. I'll go to YouTube to watch this session yesterday. So yeah, so that's about it. So thank you.
All right, Elvis.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yes, I.
Yeah, make it off to Benson. I was one following up with Benson on the
Can you get me?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I have gone through the code part, and yesterday I was the one who was asking many questions to Yababel. I was just exploring the code on downloading data using different styles, and After that, I have done a big chunk of task 2, and yeah, and today I just want to go and research more about Bayesian inference and get to know more about it so that I can be able to apply it to the project. And maybe now I can speak about the Excel presentation that we had yesterday. Yeah, it was a nice one, and I just saw how broad is data science, and how more I need to learn. So my request was maybe if we can have another person presenting on the same concept, and maybe again we have a project about it, and that will be good for us to grasp the concept and be able to apply it yeah, in our fields. Yeah, thank you.
When you say concept, which concept? The specific idea of the graph or applications of data science?
The knowledge graph, the specific graph, and how we can apply it in data science. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, Yabugo. What do you think? How do we do that?
I think I would say like I wouldn't focus. There are a million things, and one has to just, in particular, if you are interested, definitely keep asking. But I think it's about almost always what you're going to struggle in general will be which one to focus. So if a new idea comes in and you want to focus on that, you're going to really struggle. So I would say if that is something that you want to, you find it useful somewhere, like when you do the project, then just learn it. So you will learn it on when you need it. That's at least the kind of principle I have. So I wouldn't, otherwise it's going to be like swinging from one side of the universe to the other side of the universe, because there's so much and so many concepts. And most of the time when you need it, for example, next time, that's what we are planning. If we find out that there is something that we can do together and design some challenge, then you will learn it in more detail. But I wouldn't kind of focus on one particular. There will be a lot of this kind of talks that are coming, and with different concepts, some on reinforcement, this blah, some on that one. And we are not gonna make a detail. This is more of exposure. So don't kind of take whatever you get exposed as like, it's important that I know. I think it's important that you are exposed, and there will be a time probably you will need to know, and there you will have time to actually go through it. So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
I think one thing we can do is put you. I think Axel, he's a busy person, but I think he's quite. I'm sure he'd be happy to contribute a little bit of time if there are specific questions. So we can do that if people are interested in that specific area. And I think one very concrete thing that could be helpful is if you have any specific questions, we'll get the slides, we'll post them. But if you have specific questions to ask him, then you could be directly in touch with him, recognizing that he's probably also busy. But okay, Nahum.
Okay, Nahum, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so as far as the past 2 days are concerned, I can say I saw the intimidation arising from looking at the paper at first glance, gradually fading away to the point where we started to actually enjoy it and get back with every chance we got. So in that regard, I can say everything went smoothly, but I had to keep my fingers crossed whole day because we couldn't afford to have any power interruptions, which could have proved to be really, really problematic. We're also doing well as a team, and I believe we are working in such a cohesive way. We had a couple of Google meetings to discuss on the challenge, and I believe we've done a great job on the interim submissions. and I am pretty much confident that we can extend this into the remaining tasks in the days to come. So that's all. Thank you.
All right, super. We'd like to have some contributions from some women as well. So we need at least 2 contributions from women, please.
I think, given that I don't think this thing of asking people to volunteer is working, we should. I feel that we should definitely keep listing names in such a way that we get an overview what people are going. So I'm just now just on the progress Excel sheet that I just generated randomly from Google. So I'm just going always every week we can just take from that. So this is what I just got randomized for today. If anyone who hasn't in that list who hasn't spoken, please just speak.
So Rofia? You're here. No, Rafia's not here. Okay, Dawit. Is Dawit here? Dawit is also not here.
So David already. So Anastasia, yeah. So let's, Anastasia, go.
Hello, can you hear me?
If you could speak up a little bit, we can hear you, but it's a bit faint.
Okay, let me just remove the earphones. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, so good morning to you all.
Morning.
So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I was active on these groups. So what I've been able to do on Monday I saw the challenge. I went through it just as I always do. The first thing, go through the instructions. What does this week require? So on Monday I just went through the instructions. On Tuesday I started preparing my reports, going through the main paper. And I can say I've learned a lot from that paper. I had so many people say yesterday that reading is a challenge. I can say to me, reading is not so much of a challenge. I enjoy reading a lot, especially when it's something new. So I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the paper. I went through it, and after going through Slack, going through people conversation, then I knew, okay, I'll get Bayesian, I'll get Monte Carlo. So I was expecting these things even if they're new. So I just went through them, and it was educative. Then after submitting my report yesterday, I also went and forked the Pressman GitHub account, the repository, and I've tried going through the code. I can say the code is all over the place. I've only been able to run the one directed, the one I think the example one bundlesman, and go through it. Yeah, it seems a lot, but I know we'll catch up before and be able to do something. Otherwise, I think this week's challenge is good. I know it seems challenging, but I like the idea that we are just changing from Germany maybe to my country, from this change point to a certain change point in my country. I would like to see how they change. So I'm looking forward to this week's challenge. Yeah. Otherwise, I've not had any challenges so far, big challenges. Yeah.
Great. So we have been suggested also, I think it's a good idea to have a group picture, but at the end, just before anyone, because we will just try to activate the video so that we can just take a screenshot of video. So we continue. Who's available next in that list and who's willing to?
On the list are Abdulaziz, Busayo Oloshola, Anastasia's already spoken, Biniam, Ayabila, Samuel Hailu, and Augustine. The random list is pretty male dominated, I have to say, randomly. How random is random?
I think that's, But okay, so who's here within that list?
I'm here.
Yeah, great, Abdullah.
Good morning. So far, so good. I think it's been challenging. Have to read through so many papers, go through new concepts, especially the Bayesian inference. I find it very challenging, yet interesting. So I'm putting in effort to understand it before I really try to answer the question at hand, which is the challenge. So I'm reading through a lot about it, and I hope I get it by the end of today so that I can do the work. So yeah.
Right. So I think I will just, from after this, I will just host a video again. I will continue if you guys want to talk in terms of what are the things that you are challenged. What is like what is the big picture and what is the small picture? That's what I would like you to just brainstorm on that. So it's like anyone who hasn't understood the big picture of the project and then the smaller details. So the next, like after the call, I will just be here so we can talk, just to give you some guide. Okay, so who else is there? Okay, yeah. Biniam. Okay.
Amuya says she's willing to speak.
Oh, great. So.
Hi. So good morning. So yesterday on Monday I was able to attend this and was able to attend the classes, and from that I got a general idea, and then I realized my statistics was a bit missing, so I had to go back to scratch. I used Khan Academy and a couple of papers. So like Anastasia, I couldn't relate yesterday for us saying they don't enjoy the reading, because that's the fun part for me. So I went back to scratch, looked at a couple of Khan videos, caught up with my statistics, and now yesterday we're writing the report. I used a couple of papers that were referred, because I just Googled the questions. I typed in the questions and Googled them the way they were, and I put it together. That was really fun. So now today I'm looking at task 2, so I'm ready to solve it, I think. I looked at the GitHub code and I already forked it and ran it, and it took a really long time to run. I don't know why that is, after changing the country and the dates. So yeah, I'm looking to either modify or update that so that I can get something and move on with task 2. So yeah, that's my progress, and that's what I look forward to doing.
Great.
Sorry
I
for the
think
background noise.
that's already a very good step, because it will take some time. So you have to modify a little bit. Some things, just there is one parameter where the number of samples you need to take sometimes has to be smaller to make it, to do some kind of quick test. That was a production code, so it needed to run for long to actually make sure that everything is fine, whatever. But while you are experimenting, definitely you need to take, but we will go through that, so don't worry. But it's a good point that someone already gets there, so it's great. Okay, so we have one. I think we can still have one other person. Anyone in the list who wants to speak up?
We have a suggestion for Ken to speak.
Okay. Ken?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, actually, I like that. Just sorry, because I really like this suggestion. So instead of you actually trying to speak, you can suggest other people. I like that. It's good. Okay, go on, Ken.
So what I've done from Monday till yesterday is I've tried to understand like the SIR model first. Like I think I have a pretty good understanding about the model. I also went through the papers. I have like a bit of Like I know what's happening in the papers. Now for today, what I'd planned to do today is like read more on the Bayesian model and try to understand how it fits inside the project. I think if I understand how it fits inside the project, I'll be able to finish it without any challenges. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, no, but I think I will say for tomorrow we'll adopt this new strategy, which we ask someone to suggest others to speak. So instead of randomly generate. So great. That's thanks whoever suggested that idea. This is really great. Okay, so can we switch on our videos, all of us, so that we can just take screenshots, and of course the recording happens, so we have it also in the recorded, but I will try to take a screenshot. So everyone just try to, yeah. There is Elvis who's still not, and okay, yeah, so some of you, okay. So I wish that Google knows that and then kind of brings only the people with video, but okay. Cool, just smile. Great, yeah, and one more. But let me just, yeah. Awesome, guys. Great. I'm gonna share it.
All right, super. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. So you have. I stop the recording and then we start again for your tutorial, so that it's.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the tutorial. The tutorial will be later, but this one is just more.
Okay.
Chit chat. Like it's. I mean, people without bandwidth, they can also just text over the Slack. So I'll try to see both.
Should we stop recording then, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think probably it's not that necessary maybe to record. Or at least let's split it, like stop the recording